Alrighty, what we're going to do today is make our Mora Companion a little more versatile. We're going to do that by adding a couple things to it and modifying the blades slightly. So what I've got here is a Mora Companion heavy duty with the carbon blade. The heavy duties have a little bit bigger of a handle than the regular Companion 2, so that helps, and you'll see why in a bit. We're also going to need some fire cord. This is 550 fire cord. It's waterproof and it has an 1/8 inner strand that you can pull out and light on fire. It's like a jute twine coated with some sort of chemical to make it waterproof. Heads up, this stuff does have a real chemically smell to it once you take it out of the package, so there's that. We're also going to need some bicycle inner tube. This is the size I like to use because it fits snugly over the Mora sheath. We're going to need some transparent PVC tubing, 3/8. See that there? I like to use the transparent stuff that's a little bit flexible because the bicycle tube will actually squish it down a bit and the rubbery texture sort of grips this fire steel that you're going to need nicely. So I like to use just the cheap fire steels, this sort of a generic kind of thing, generic handle. I like this style handle because it nests nicely up against the Mora Companion's sheath. It's a little bit of a ridge there. It sits in there nicely, keeps it in nice and secure. You're also going to need a little plug, pipe plug. So this is a, you see that there? There's a little bit of shade. There we go. So that's got a little indent. Yeah. We're also going to need some 2-part epoxy. I like to use the clear, makes for a cleaner finished product. And some super glue, crazy glue, that kind of stuff. Also, I have a little keeper here from the end of some cordage off a hoodie. And for tools, you will need 3/8 drill bit, razor knife, flat file, and a round file. And last but not least, a drill. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is attach this fire steel to the Mora Companion sheath. We do that by taking your clear transparent PVC tubing, slide it over the fire steel, and take your razor knife and give it a cut. So you want to cut it back. You want to leave about 1/4 inch of the fire steel hanging out the bottom. So you want to be about 1/4 inch shorter than fire steel. Cut that off, and you wind up with a little piece of tubing like this. There you go. See a little 1/4 inch gap there. Then you take your tubing, lay it on your bicycle tube, measure it, and cut a piece of bicycle tube the same length as your clear PVC tubing, and you wind up with this. Now you take this and this, slide the PVC tubing into the bicycle tube, slide it up the sheath. Now you'll notice when you do yours that when you flip it over, it's sort of a bubble here. It doesn't fit perfectly tight down at the bottom here because the sheath tapers a bit. So what I do is I just cut a little V to make it just lay flat against the sheath. Okay, so now you have tubing in there. Pop your fire steel in there. Adjust it to where you want it. So now you're going to want your fire steel to just nest nicely There, see that? So we're going to take it down just a little bit more. There you go. So that flare is resting in the taper of the sheath. There you go. Hopefully you can see that. And you've got your rubber tubing resting nicely in there. Okay, now what you're going to want to do is attach this, and you don't need a ton of crazy glue, you just need a little drop about the size of half a grain of rice. So I take this, fold back the bicycle tube, so you expose the PVC tubing and just put a little tiny drop there. Boop. I roll down. That's actually even a little too much. That was about the size of a grain of rice, so it's going to spill over a bit. So I fold that over. I'm going to pull my thing out there so it doesn't get glued in. Now you fold up the bottom. Just a tiny drop. There you go. That's all it takes. Go to the back side, right up at the top here. Tiny little drop. Go to the bottom of the V, tiny drop, and tiny drop. Oh, got a little on my fingers there. Don't glue your fingers together. Okay. Got a little excess there. I'm just going to wipe off. Here we go. And that's that. So what you want, the reason I don't glue it right up is because there might be a point in time where you want to take this off, use this rubber tubing for something else, you know, who knows what, all sorts of things you might need it for. So yeah, if you only use just a little dab of glue here and there, it's easy to get it off your sheath at a later date. Alright, next thing we're going to do is attach our fire cord. Got a piece of fire cord here, 69 inches long. What I like to do is you double it up. So you got a loop, take the loop, put it in behind, take the cord, pass it through the loop, make sure it's laying flat, pull it tight. You want to keep the bite up near the spine here, or the top edge of the sheath. Now you want to do it tight, but not insanely tight. You just do it pretty tight. It's going to bite really well on this rubber, so you don't have to cinch it down too incredibly crazy. So I like to give it that. So put a loop around the back through my loop. Keep it all laying flat. Now the reason I do it this way instead of, you'll see a lot of guys, they, lay the cord with the loop, wrap it all around, feed it through, pull it tight. That's one way to do it, works great. I like to do it this way because it makes it easier to remove smaller sections of paracord if you're just looking to use the flammable core and yeah, if not, it just, I don't know. I just like the look of it a little better too. So anyway, do that. There you go. It's tough to get this sort of tight because it really bites into that rubber. And again, make a loop, lay it around the back, over the top, through the hole, keep it all laying flat. Now we have it all wrapped around here, nice edge along the top. Just got a couple little tails here. What I do is I take my little keeper, if you can see that, and I put it over top of the ends of this cord and just give it a little cinch down. There you go. This isn't going anywhere. Cinch down. You can also flip this and have the seam on the bottom of the knife if you like. I don't know. I like it up top. But yeah, that's the finished product. No noise, it's not rattling. That fire steel is not going to move. It's actually going to take a little bit of effort to pull it out. Okay, so to make the knife itself a little more useful, we're going to make some modifications to the blade. The Mora Companions, the spine is, the edges are rounded off, so you can't scrape a fire steel with it as it comes from the factory. So what I like to do is take a flat file and file the spine so that there's a nice 90-degree edge that you can use to scrape a fire steel. I've already done it. I'm not going to show you the whole process of filing on a 90-degree edge. I'm sure you'll figure it out. But I don't know, can you see that there? Just, there you go. The other thing is I don't like to file the entire spine down to a 90-degree edge. I find when you're using the knife and you're doing some more detailed work, or even when you're doing some more power cuts kind of sometimes, but anyway, sometimes my thumb likes to ride up on the spine here, and sometimes I'll put some chimping here, but anyway, if you sharpen the spine to 90 degrees the whole way down, you got a sharp edge, and if you're always pushing on that sharp edge with your thumb, it's, I don't know, wears the end of your thumb out, might give you a little blister. It's just not comfortable. So yeah, just about 1.5 inch section, long enough to scrape a fire steel, and you can see this is there. I don't know if you can see that. It scrapes off a little bit of thumbnail. The other thing I did was put a little divot in there. So that was something I saw them do on one of the Pathfinder videos. So he puts this little divot in here so that he can latch onto a pot handle, pull pots out of the fire, that sort of thing. Just something, a little groove to get things resting in so that it doesn't slip off the end of the knife. And to make that groove, I actually just took a grinder and started the groove, and then took the round file and just cleaned it up, made it nice half circle, and yeah, made it look a little better than just using the grinder. And this file is, what size is this? I believe it's 5/16. I don't know, it's not written on here anywhere. Oh no, it's 7/32 or 6.5 millimeter for the rest of the world, everyone besides Americans. Okay, that's that for the blade. go to inset the little brass piece. I'm going to put it on the inside so it's not visible when the knife is just sitting in the sheath. It'll be resting up against the inside of the belt holder there. Okay, so we don't need that right now. So the Companion is basically, it's a 3/4 tang. It comes down quite a ways, but not all the way. So what we're going to do is set this in down near the end. If you try to set it in too far in that way, you'll just bump up against the tang, and then this won't be set all the way down flush into the handle. So we're going to move it back a bit, somewhere in there. Take this to start. Actually, you know what we can do? We're going to do that so that we don't cut ourselves. Cover up that blade a bit, put it in the sheath upside down there. Okay, so right there kind of looks good, centered. We want it to be right on the edge of the rubber right here. Okay, so I'm just going to start a little hole right here so that the drill has something to bite into. There we go. Take our drill. Make sure it looks good. Now, little tip. So you don't want to drill too far into the handle because you want it to be flush. You want it to look good and all that. But you want to drill it deep enough before you put your epoxy in that this thing sets in nicely. So what I did is just put it up against your drill bit, flat edge to where the taper stops, and then wrap a piece of black tape around your drill bit so you know how far you have to drill in to the handle of the knife. Okay, and then your drill and drill in. So we're almost there. Maybe just another, just a 1/8 of an inch, not even. And there you go. So that should just set right in there. Okay. Holes drilled. Epoxy's been mixed up. So we're just going to take, we don't need a lot of epoxy here. We don't want it squirting out all over the place. So what we're going to do, we just mixed up a little bit. Take a little dab and carefully dip it in the hole there. So it is going to squish out, so you don't want to fill up the hole and make a big mess everywhere. Might put just a tad more in here. There is a taper. Drill bit. A little bit on the edge there. Okay. Take our thing. Obviously the whole side facing up, and we put that in there. I'm going to put on a glove here just because it's probably going to be a little bit of epoxy squirting out. Push that in. It's a little tough. Pair of pliers here. Probably just tap it in with a hammer against the table if you want it. I'm going to use that. Squeeze it in. Not too hard. Oh, there we go. A little bit of epoxy squirting out there, but it's not too bad. Don't make too much of a mess. So that's that. You can see it's flush. There's nothing sticking out, nothing to catch your finger on. It's inset there. So I'll just let that set up as per the instructions of the epoxy, and I'll show you the finished product later when it's all done. Here is the finished Mora. Fire steel attached and fire cord. And here is another, just a regular companion that I did up, and I attached a push nut instead of the brass pin. It worked out all right. Not quite as good though. And that's that.